Several months ago, Qobuz contacted me and asked if I was interested in reviewing their service. They provided me a 6-month all-access streaming account to put Qobuz through its paces. Today, we're going to talk about Qobuz, its features, usability, and my experience using and comparing it to Amazon Music HD. First and foremost, let's talk pricing. Qobuz has a few options. First, there's the standard streaming plan they call Studio Premiere. If you sign up for the 12-month option, you'll pay $130 up front. If you select the monthly installment, you'll end up paying $13 per month, so paying the 12-month upfront is actually a little bit more cost-effective. This standard plan includes the same high-resolution audio streaming as the higher-priced plan. This means you'll stream 24-bit FLAC up to 192 kHz. The second option is what they call Studio Sublime, which starts at $15 per month. This subscription adds offline listening and provides discounts to music purchases from Qobuz Download Store. Speaking of the Download Store, it's integrated into the Qobuz platform. If you stream music you like, you can purchase that music directly from Qobuz. And once you've purchased the digital album, you can decide what format you want to download it in. You'll get a wide selection of options. You can compare Qobuz's pricing to other services, such as Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, and Amazon Music. Rather than wasting time telling you what you can easily find online through a Google search, I'll simply summarize what I found about the price brackets. In short, Qobuz is competitively priced when you compare against Amazon and Tidal. Amazon, of course, provides discounts to its HD lossless service if you're a Prime member. If you're a Prime member, you pay $80 for a 1-year Amazon Music HD subscription. Of course, you also have to factor in the Prime membership fee, which keeps increasing and is currently around $130 per year. The bottom line is that Qobuz is not exorbitantly priced, at least not when you compare against similar services. You might not want to pay this much money, but that's why there's YouTube. Qobuz has a desktop and mobile application, and yes, they work for Apple, Windows, iOS, and Android. I've downloaded the Qobuz applications for all of these platforms, and they are pretty much identical. They look alike, function the same way, and have the same menus. In other words, your desktop experience on Windows will be the same as on Mac, and your mobile experience on iOS will be the same as on Android. Further, Qobuz has an online browser function, so you can log in through your web browser and stream that way if you want. When it comes to user interface, it's a personal matter. Some people think Amazon has the worst interface while others believe Tidal has the best. My opinion is that you just have to get used to the service and eventually find a way around their respective limitations because they all have them. As far as Qobuz is concerned, the interface looks quite good. It is aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. You get big album art and clear identification of content. Albums are not crammed together in tight spacing like aisles at Walmart. The font is easy to read, and navigating among the various available options and suggestions in the main menu page is intuitive. All of this might sound silly, but it really isn't. If an app looks ugly to you, you are going to hate to use it. And while I cannot say that everyone will like how Qobuz looks, they at least put in the effort to present well. Qobuz also has an interesting feature within the app. Qobuz requires you to individually select genres to see your options. The application allows you to select one, multiple, or all genres. This helps fine-tune the suggestions you want at a given moment. So, if you're in the mood for jazz and only jazz, you can tell Qobuz to give you those selections only. If you want folk, hip-hop, and metal, because you've got an eclectic taste, you can do that. Or you can have Qobuz give you everything. For a few years, I've been using Amazon Music HD exclusively, and so far, I have not found a way to make Amazon's app do the same thing that Qobuz does. If you want a specific genre, you'll have to search for it on Amazon. Another very important aspect for any streaming service is learned suggestions. Can this service recommend music based upon your habits? The answer with Qobuz is yes. But like any streaming service, you need to actually use it consistently in order for the algorithm to understand your preferences. Of course, not all algorithms are the same. I've used Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Tidal, and now Qobuz. I've spent hundreds of hours on all of these services. My experience as far as music recommendation is concerned is the following. Amazon Music HD has provided me the most consistent, accurate recommendations. Of course, I've used it for a very long time, so I expect it to function like this. I would guess that its recommendations are typically to my liking 75% of the time. Spotify is second on my list. I used Spotify for many years, ever since it was available in the United States, and its hit ratio was inconsistent. Sometimes I got great recommendations, and often I didn't. It was, at best, in my recollection, a 50-50 chance. I have an Apple Music subscription. I use it regularly for my HomePod. The Apple service is a little bit frustrating. In my experience, it pushes popular albums despite my clear preferences to the contrary. I rarely get indie music recommendations and often get offered the likes of Taylor Swift, even though I don't listen to her music. Apple's recommendation ratio is no better than 30% accuracy. Tidal is a near zero. Its recommendations rarely cater to my tastes. Even when I listen primarily to alternative rock, pop, or classical, the vast majority of the time Tidal would force-feed me hip-hop recommendations. After 3 months of this, it became rather tiresome. Turning to Qobuz, well, I would put it in the 50% category. It's not the best, and frankly, it's not the worst. It is possible that Qobuz and I need more time together. After all, as I said already, I have used Amazon Music for quite a while, and Jeff Bezos and I evidently have very similar music tastes. And of course, all of this is somewhat subjective. If you only listen to popular artists or primarily hip-hop, then Tidal or Apple Music might cater to you. If you like obscure artists, then Spotify might be your cup of tea. In the 3 months I have used Qobuz in conjunction with Amazon Music HD, I have found that its suggestions have become more consistent. Your mileage will vary. Audiophiles are always concerned about audio quality from every aspect of their gear. It's a bit astonishing how many people put emphasis on DACs and amps, sometimes above considering headphones, IEMs, and speakers' performance. But underlying everything is the music file itself. MP3, FLAC, WMA, lossy or lossless, streaming or physical playback, these are all relevant considerations to one degree or another. If you want an analog sound, then just stick with analog. Buy a record player and speakers. If you want the cleanest recording, then go to high-quality digital files. When it comes to audio quality on Qobuz, I think people will be spinning their wheels arguing about its performance. Yes, there are some differences among streaming services. Spotify sounds different from Tidal, for example, and Tidal sounds different from Amazon Music HD. To determine if there's any noticeable difference between Amazon Music HD and Qobuz, I tried a couple of experiments. First, I played the same albums from both services back and forth. I used the same DAC, same amp, and same headphones. Stopping and starting music is not really the best way to determine differences, but it's the one most people will probably use. Second, I played both services at once using different sources. One was on a Mac while the other was on my PC. I had to, of course, use two different DACs and amps, so I chose the EcoZerta ITM03 and the Lotu Paw S1 and used the Austrian Audio Hi-X55. The Zerta and Lotu devices are both fairly transparent and neutral. The X55 is one of the most revealing analytical headphones I've ever heard. Of course, to make the test fair, I switched sources. Ultimately, what I learned is that I could not hear any immediate difference between Amazon Music HD and Qobuz. When volume matched and playing the same albums, it was not possible for me to hear an audible difference one way or another. Maybe there is some kind of difference, but if it's there, it did not present itself in the music I tested. But we're really talking semantics. If you're that concerned about the sound signature of your streaming service, then you just need to try them out yourselves. Instead, I'm more interested in the overall presentation. Browsing through Qobuz's catalog is pretty self-explanatory. Playing selected tracks, creating playlists, and liking a track or album is as simple as on any other service I've used. Depending on the streaming quality you want and your online connection, music starts within a second or two of selecting it. But I have to admit, there are some common problems with Qobuz as there are with other services. You have to delve into menus to find your playlists. The application simply does not have a sidebar for your created playlists. Some music is not available on Qobuz. For example, when I tried to recreate my test playlist on Qobuz, a few tracks were simply not available. And of course, Qobuz does not have a built-in equalizer. Now, none of these things are necessarily deal breakers, but they are issues to consider. Overall, if you want to talk about sound quality out of Qobuz, do yourself a favor and just download a free trial of the service and listen for yourself. One of the best features out of Qobuz is its download store integration. I can easily purchase albums through this service. Amazon lets you do something similar, but it is a pale comparison of what Qobuz offers. For example, Amazon does not always have music to buy. I've often run into albums that I can only stream. Amazon also only lets you download MP3s of your music purchases, and that amazes me. The HD service streams lossless FLAC, but if I want to buy an album I'm streaming, I have to live with MP3 files. That does not make sense to me. This is why whenever I want to buy a digital album, I go either to Qobuz or Bandcamp. If either of these sources do not have the album I'm looking for, I hunt elsewhere. I would say that about 90% of the time, Qobuz or Bandcamp have the stuff I'm looking for. This is a key differentiator of Qobuz from all the other music services I've used, Amazon, Tidal, and Apple Music. Now, Apple AAC format is fine, but I prefer to keep my albums in the straightforward FLAC format, which is playable by any device irrespective of age or manufacturer. The Qobuz download store lets you choose the file format you want to download, and you can download all of them if you choose. Bandcamp also gives you a few options, but Qobuz has a wider variety. So, if you download music, Qobuz is a good place to look, and their second-tier service gives you a discount at their download store. Let's be honest, you do not need to subscribe to a streaming service. There's plenty of free music available on YouTube. In fact, it's really hard to not find your artists and tracks over there. If you're on a tight budget or have little desire to pay for yet another subscription service, then you do have alternatives. You've got Pandora, Bandcamp, and YouTube as cost-free options. But if you want high-resolution streaming, then the top competitors, in my opinion, are Amazon and Qobuz. I do not consider Tidal as high-resolution streaming since its vaunted MQA is lossy, and the extra cost for compatible equipment makes Tidal hard to justify. Yes, there's also Deezer and probably a few other alternatives, but I haven't used them and cannot talk about their efficacy. In my view, if you're happy with your streaming service and cannot find a reason to discontinue it, then don't. Keep using what makes you happy. If, however, you're done with Spotify, and boy are there good reasons to be done with Spotify, and you want a lossless streaming option, then Amazon and Qobuz are easy recommendations. If you're already in the Amazon Prime ecosystem, then paying $8 per month for HD music makes sense. While Amazon's application and user interface need more work, I have found the service overall quite agreeable. What really makes Qobuz worthwhile, I think, is its marketplace. You can buy true lossless or lossy music with a discount depending on the subscription service you choose. If you like what Qobuz has to offer and regularly purchase music, then Qobuz is pretty much the only game in town. Am I going to switch from Amazon Music HD to Qobuz? I'm not sure. I'm already a Prime member, so my HD service is half the price of the top-tier Qobuz subscription. At the moment, I'd be happy using both services if that was a feasible option. Regardless, Amazon and Qobuz have carved out a slice for themselves. Given all the potential options in the market, either of these two options are equally good.